Time to talk about your health. Living a Primal Lifestyle. With your hosts, Nico and Ellen Haan. Now, Nico and Ellen Haan.
Good morning, I'm Nico Haan, and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced and natural wild world.
To recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms. Good morning, I'm Ellen Haan.
It's a beautiful day in downtown St. Petersburg. It is 77 degrees and mostly clear, 100% humidity, feels like 77.
Wind out of the northeast, which is, the wind is turned a bit, so it's maybe we're going to have some fall.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Anyway, it's a beautiful day here, and I'd like to remind you of a couple of things. First of all, our Primal Edge, our one-shot wonder, over 310 organic cell-ready liquid ingredients, so it's easy to take, and all powered by fulvic and humic acid to get the good stuff in.
And get the bad stuff out.
And the second thing, of course, is our Health Signals newsletter, which follows our show. All the things that we talked about in the past couple of weeks are in here, so you can do your own analysis on that. And the number here is 877-927-6648. Like to give us a call. I'd like to talk about exercise today. This is primarily my business for the last 20 years or so. And I think there's not a great understanding of why we exercise and things like that. I think we want to lose weight is most of the time. It's kind of out there. You want to lose weight, you got to exercise. And really, that's not my way of thinking about it at all. But this article here is kind of interesting because we talk about the exercise habits of hunter and gatherers. Now, it says here, don't let the title fool you. Hunter and gatherers did not exercise, at least not in the modern sense of the word. Nearly all hunter and gatherer exercise movements were in response to physical demands of their lives. Finding food and water, escaping from dangers, building shelters, caring for their children, just to name a few. So except for the very young and old, everybody was required to do some physical labor on a regular basis. I think that's what they did. So in the old days, it was really, we got the exercise from doing the normal stuff we had to do to survive. Today, however, that's not really the case.
We certainly don't move. These days, first thing is that I think of is sitting in front of the computer all day.
Right.
And even if you're home and you're not in front of the computer all day, there's a limit to the amount of actual movement that you do.
Yeah.
And we tend, these days, we think of gyms and we think of regimens and we think of workout programs and we think of, you got to make time and do your rotations and so on. And it's a lot of people are not going to be motivated or even have the money to join the gym maybe, or they're just not going to find it that they want to run out at 5 o'clock in the morning and go exercise because that's the only time they have. But I think the article points out the kinds of movement that you can make that isn't traditional, not lifting weights and so on.
Well, in an aspect of hunter and gatherer life, there was a reason for activity, and energy input, which was the food, was directly related to the energy expenditure, the exercise that you did. If you wanted to eat, they had to work for it. By contrast, modern humans' equivalent in energy expenditures amounts to moving groceries from the car to the house.
Yeah, walking the cart around the store.
What's really changed is the movements that we do. If we were out in the wild and building shelter and taking care of our kids and looking for food, maybe all those movements would be the thing that makes us healthy along with the food that we eat.
Yeah, well, they talk about, lifting a child and carrying a child around for the women, and while they're doing the things like hunting and gathering. So there was stooping and there was pulling weeds or plants or rooting through bushes or digging in the dirt.
Well, the other thing I think of, too, is when you look at the gorillas and monkeys, their children are hanging on to them. And I think that's what our children did. They hung on to us. They hung on to us when they could. We carried them where we could. But they probably got stronger by hanging on, too.
Oh, yeah.
So I think today's exercise, and when I started my exercise regimes, I was living with a guy, a friend of mine that was a scientist, Lucian Randolph from McDonald's. And one of the things that he mentioned, he says exercise today has changed because now there's countermeasures for the activity that we do. We don't have the activities of our forefathers. But just take the thing that you mentioned, sitting in a chair, which is a restrictive movement. It doesn't get you to the ground and it doesn't allow you to squat, which is a very important exercise. So what we have in our modern age is hip replacements, knee replacements, all kinds of problems with the back and the hips and the knees.
All right, so when you say countermeasures, you're talking about using exercise or stretching to counteract the negative effects
of our daily activities, the new activities. Just think of knitting, think of typing. Just these small little movements are really aggravating to our joints. So now we need to exercise these things to rehabilitate them as we go along.
Right, that's a countermeasure.
Yeah, so the countermeasure for us for sitting in a chair would be a squat. So this is the way I kind of looked at my exercise programs all along. I want to identify what my clients are doing and countermeasure those.
Or what they're not doing.
Well, that too, of course.
Not moving.
But what we're talking about is some of these modern activities have problems, just like sitting in the chair has a problem.
Well,
It causes problem because they're not large movements. They're maybe small movements. Maybe they're too large. Maybe they're too repetitive. Sitting in a chair all the time. How many people do that? So these are the things I think that exercise is today. So it's a lot different. In this article, they also talk about the history. And I think that's important to look in this because there's a lot of information that we can get, but there's a lot of disinformation from this too. In other words, in the Stone Age, some 2.3 million years ago, well, the Stone Age really, when we think about our modern life here now, and we go back to what our Stone Age ancestors did, it wasn't 2.3. We don't think 2.3 million years back. I think of 10,000, 20,000, maybe 30,000. Who knows how long we've been here. But in our present form as Homo sapiens, I think is what we need to talk about.
Yes, that's what makes more sense from an evolutionary perspective.
Yeah, we're not talking about the monkeys that resembled us and maybe we're in a family tree. It also says here it wasn't until the agricultural revolution of 10,000 years ago that our physical activity changed. Well, it wasn't 10,000 years ago. It was 10,000 years ago in one small part of the world at the Levant. In the crescent of agriculture in Iran and those areas. Most of the rest of the world was still in the Stone Age until maybe 5,000 to 3,000 years ago. So the timeline is wrong. When we started growing foods, it mentions here, now you're 10,000 years ago and you're tending the cattle and magically you know how to grow food and everything like that. That's not how it happened. It was accidental. Somewhere along the line, we discovered that you could grow this stuff and we started eating different. So some of this information I don't like, although it's a very good educational thing and it's written by people to know it.
You always have to read articles with a critical eye and with bringing to it what you know and what you've found in other research and so on, so, and every article that we look at pretty much we have the same reaction. Well, that's really good, that's really good. Well, I don't so much agree with that.
Yeah, okay, so let's continue with that when we get back. And in the meantime, folks, please pick up our Primal Edge, our one-shot wonder. And, this is really important during the COVID days, so we'll be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive.
We take it every morning. Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com. Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Now we're talking about ancestral lifestyle movement versus exercise, which is what we do today. Mm-hmm. And it says this article is interesting for a couple reasons, and one of them is that it talks about the fact that hunter-gatherers alternate hard days of exertion with easy days with more rest. And it was important to do that because regular high-intensity exercise would increase their risk of injury or illness. Mm-hmm. And if they got injured or ill, they couldn't go out and hunt for food, and they couldn't sustain their lifestyles, and they couldn't sustain their survival. Mm-hmm. So, a serious injury could mean death.
Sure.
Because we didn't have the medical care and the knowledge that we have today.
Although they do find some advanced tribes have knowledge of those things, but mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. I think it's
setting a like something like that.
It says here also that we walked a lot and we looked for food 9 hours a day. I think that's probably possible, but I think there were days when you found food right around your area. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to do the 9 hours. Mm-hmm. I think there's days that you just laid around. There's stories of the white man first seeing the Shoshone Indians in the Arizona desert and saying, these people are the laziest, they don't do anything. They're just laying around all the time. Mm-hmm. I think they picked the reasons for, if you have food, you don't have to hunt for food. No. If you have shelter, you don't have to fix your shelter.
Yeah, well, they didn't have a refrigerator or pantry, so they, took what they took, they ate it, and when it ran out, they went and got more.
Yeah, it also says here, only days they refrained from hunting is when it rained. Well, maybe not. Maybe who knows that? I don't know. Below is a table of calories the hunter and gatherers burned from each activity. And I thought this was kind of interesting that, here's a summary of someone carrying logs, takes 893 calories. Well, how far do you carry those things?
Well, that's it. When you look at a chart, you got to figure, how far was the carrying a log?
Well, it's based on an hour, and it's based on a 176-pound man and a 132-pound woman. Mm-hmm. About average, I would say. Running for an hour takes about 782 calories. Carrying meat, 706. And we go down the line. Archery, 312. Shelter construction, 250, et cetera,
Scraping
et cetera.
a hide, 302.
Yeah, so there's a lot of activities in this, and a lot of these activities probably were things that damaged them in some way. I think about them chewing on hides and things like that up north, and the Eskimos, their teeth were wore down, especially the women, because they were the ones that mostly did this. So there was also consequences, but mostly we think that people of the old age were...
eventually they evolved to using stones and
Sure.
so on, and
Yeah.
just scrape and
our
soften
ancestors,
and
So part of the article is how to duplicate the fitness regime of our hunter and gatherers, and of course I think this is where CrossFit kind of came about, and we have these different disciplines that we have in the exercise industry that gives you maybe some of the things that we used to do. I don't think it really matters. We know now that if we have a certain exertion, that's good for us. If we overexert, that's not good for us. So we have a lot of knowledge. But it says here, with the concept of cross-training, which we think all our ancestors were probably cross-trainers in a way, its effectiveness can be tracked back millions of years to our hunter and gatherer ancestors. It wasn't enough just to be able to chase after prey for an hour at a time. They had to be able to carry it back and do all that kind of thing too.
Yeah, well, the point here, I think, is that they were mixing strength, flexibility, endurance, and I think that's what generally is the philosophy of exercise today. What you talk about sprinting, you talk about, then resting in between or moving slowly in between, and what kind of a regimen do you do?
I do it when I want to, pretty much, So when I feel like I need to get strength, and I typically exercise, I go to jiu-jitsu a couple times a week, so twice a week. And at work, I usually work out once or twice a week. That's pretty much it.
And when you work out, what kind of a regime are you doing?
I do pretty much what it says here. I mix endurance with strength and flexibility. I do interval training. I incorporate
what's
rest.
interval training?
Interval training is where you do one thing for a while, you switch it off and do something else. So you might run for a bit and then walk for a bit. Or you might crawl for a bit, those types of things. So interval training, some of them are like sprinting 60 seconds or 30 seconds and then walking for a minute. Those types of things is what we call interval training. So it's
intense exercise alternating with more relaxed or resting, letting your muscles rest.
Yeah, remember I ran for 30 years, and I ran between 30 and 50 miles a week a lot of times, especially in training. And pretty soon my knees started hurting after years, and I had to change things. Barefooting helped a little bit, but I find now if I just sprint and then walk, it accomplishes the same thing, and I actually feel better about it.
Right.
So
doesn't take as long.
Yeah. So the things they talk about here, first, mixing the endurance with strength and flexibility. The second one, what we call interval training, mixing it up. Number 3, incorporating rest into your workout schedule. In other words, alternating days, perhaps.
Yeah, not exercising every single day.
Well, when you feel tired, it's time to rest.
Right.
That's just, you have to go along with your body.
Pay
you got
attention.
a lot of energy, go out and do what you need to do, for sure. Number 3 is rest. Number 4 is exercise outdoors. Yeah, this is a huge thing. We do a lot of stuff indoors because this is the way we kind of think, well, we have to go to the exercise place. But outdoors, there's nothing better than outdoors.
And, well, to some extent, I'm not going to go walking when it's 98 degrees, outside, or if the only time you have to go is at lunchtime, and it's the height of the solar rays, and it's the height of the heat. And
Sure, if there's smog, the fire is going on, there's a lot of excuses not to exercise.
No, I'm not saying excuses. I'm saying that we make arrangements. We stay inside and do our exercise, go to the gym, go to the workout room.
Well, it makes sense here in Florida. 95 degrees outside, you don't want to go outside for a run or a walk. You can walk on the treadmill if you want to.
Yeah.
However, it may be better for you to go outside and expose yourself to the elements to be a little bit one with the universe, perhaps.
Well, it's always good to add that into your schedule.
Right. Yeah, so you have to be sensible about it.
Even if that means if I go out onto the deck area, the patio area where we have screening, so I don't get eaten by mosquitoes.
That helps.
And just breathing the fresh air and feeling the air stirring and listening to the trees and by 20 minutes later I melted into the chair.
There is that. But one of the things I learned at jiu-jitsu when we first started jiu-jitsu, Eduardo de Lima, we were just out of a garage type of, big thing, and the doors would be open. Doesn't matter if it's raining, doesn't matter if the sun is shining, doesn't matter if it's 90 degrees or 50 degrees, we were out in the elements. And I think that was an important part of just feeling like you belong there, to that type of regime.
Well, it's part of the whole mindset.
Yeah, for sure. So when we get back, I want to talk a little bit about the exercise that our hunter and gatherer ancestors did. and how we can maybe mimic or replicate some of these movements, because like sitting in a chair, squatting is much better for you, where sitting in a chair isn't so much.
Squatting is it's actually a rigorous position to be in for a lot of people.
For our Western people,
because we don't do that.
Right. So that's an important thing. Number here is 877-927-6648. If you'd like to give us a call, do so. Otherwise, we'll be back in a couple minutes. And while you're out there in the stratosphere, if I can find my cursor, you know what to do. Pick up the Primal Edge, pick up the Health Signals newsletter, and when we get back, I'll get this cursor under control.
Would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
So this next article is how to mimic our Paleolithic ancestors' squatting habits to improve lots of things. There's a plethora of research demonstrating that a sedentary lifestyle is detrimental to one's health and longevity. And a cross-sectional study examining the effects of sitting time and physical activity in over 900 male workers demonstrated that the most sedentary individuals have a higher body mass index, a greater waist circumference, and a higher systolic blood pressure. They also have worse lipid profiles with higher C-reactive protein levels.
Which is a marker for inflammation.
Right, and it's higher insulin resistance and higher insulin concentrations. This particular position that this guy's in, and I'm sure he's very comfortable in that. Notice how straight the back is, how flexed everything is. This is an active sitting position. In other words, you're working hard in this position. There's a lot of things going on there that you normally wouldn't be thinking about in just sitting, plopping down in a chair. This is something very, very important, and it's probably the reason that most of us have hip and knee problems.
And back problems.
And back problems, because we don't do this. Sitting on a toilet, same thing. We have the squatty potty that I use. We have different ways of getting into the squatting position. And we have little poles around our house that I can just go down real easy and go down as easy as possible and stay there for a while. And I think this is one of the more important things that I like to teach my clients, is that you need to squat. You need to get into this low position. And it's uncomfortable in the beginning. But after a while, after a few months of doing this, it gets to be a very comfortable position, and it strengthens your abs. You don't even have to do any ab work, pretty much.
Because the bottom line is that holding and maintaining a squat is an active, even though you're not moving, your muscles are moving to hold you in place. There's balance issues, and there's, now the key here is, a lot of people have problems with, you can't get back up again once you squat, too.
That's the pole. Something to hang on to, kitchen counter. This is how you begin.
And you can begin with sitting, instead of sitting on a chair, sit on a lower stool or a bench.
Right.
And start that way so that you're going further down than you normally do.
And in yoga class, they have these little blocks that you can use to get yourself a little bit higher, since you don't have the flexibility. So you can use books, you can use a little stool of some kind to get lower. And as you go
little
through
by
this,
little, you'll be able to do it.
And that's the way to do it. You're not going to accomplish this within the first year if you've been in a chair for years.
Right.
It's going to take a long time.
And the older you get, also.
But this is a huge benefit to your health.
Right.
And to your whole thinking of how people are supposed to be sitting.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm suggesting that there are ways of doing it that are not daunting. And, doing squats, you have to keep your back straight. You don't lean over. There are ways to do things. And I think rather than trying to do squats, just having a surface to sit onto it would help you keep your posture and the proper alignment for doing a squat.
And seek out a professional to help you get started if you're having trouble with this. But you can go to YouTube and see how other people are doing it. There are ways you can find out. But it's huge to your health and to your posture and hip control and all these things. So I highly recommend you do this. It says here that the Haas spend much of their time in non-ambulatory time, like postures like squatting. These resting postures require higher levels of muscle activity than chair sitting. The findings suggest that human physiology likely evolved with significant inactivity. Remember that also when you're on the ground and you're squatting or you're just sitting on the ground, everybody's equal. A big important thing.
Oh, right, because you're all the same height.
So the chair was really brought about in a hierarchy type of situation, that I want to be higher than everybody else. I'm the important one here. Look at me. That's the way I see it. So it's a huge thing in a tribe that everybody is equal. Everybody has certain jobs. Everybody's better at something than everybody else. But as far as being a person and a human being, you don't have any more power than anybody else. That's the way it is. And that's a very, very, very nice way. This is how families act to each other.
If you look around, if you watch kids, they squat down all the time.
Sure.
They don't even think about it. They just squat down and they play with their toys, or they don't sit. Or they don't kneel. Sometimes
in fact, if you drop something on the ground, a kid will just go down really into a squat, where an adult will bend their back and lean over. That's a big difference in what you do. I've always practiced the part, if I drop something, I'm going to be squatting, just to get it in my brain that I want to do this.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting because they found that adults are unable to move their thighs parallel to the ground when they were squatting. They tend to bend over. They tend to to become less than 90 degrees, and And it's...
And part of this article is how to build more active postures into your resting time. The obvious difficulty with increased muscle activation during inactivity, for example, in a squat position, is resting during this time. So you really have to be into this system for a while for you able to be in the resting position.
Because you
that
can
way.
relax into while
Exactly,
you're in the
because at first everything's fighting you.
Yeah.
And that's for
You
sure.
don't wanna
Just try
fall
it.
over.
Just try it at home, folks. Just go down your kitchen corner, hang on, and just go down slowly. You know, your butt has to go back like you're on a toilet. That's the way you do it. And if you feel uncomfortable in that position, you need to do that more.
Well, you can start by doing... You don't have to go to a deep squat.
No, I'm saying you go down as far as you can. That's all you can do.
And you do it a few times. How many times did you, 5 or 6?
At first, I couldn't stay down long. I had to go right back up again. But then, now I can do that 15, 20 minutes. Doesn't make any difference.
Right.
It's a progression. But it's highly important.
Yeah, and it adds to flexibility, and it adds to stability. It helps with balance.
Yeah, well, it says here that many people display a lack of stability in their movements, but with effort they can retrain the brain by replacing some of the missing stability needed to complete the movement. To assist the deep squats, try what is called a dumbbell-assisted deep squat. It's very effective in teaching your body how to activate its core muscles. So while you're, learning these types of exercise movements, your body has to learn them too. It has to rewire or kind of reprogram not only your brain but the muscles themselves.
Right.
So it knows what you're doing. Right away, you start doing this, your muscles are going, what the heck are you doing? You've never done this before. That's with any activity.
What is it?
That's right. How come now? So, and if you go out in the woods, it's a hell of a lot easier to go to the bathroom if you know this position. So that's another thing too. And that's,
I'm just staying out of the woods.
Okay. But it's logical. It's important. It's missing out of our lives. And this is
such a simple thing to do.
Yeah, and we have these little things like chairs and toilets that spoil it all for our health.
Well, we need chairs and toilets,
No,
obviously,
we don't.
but...
I don't think we do. I think we can... Well, we need it because... Okay, I guess it should be...
Calm down, honey.
I do get carried away, but I think that's how important it is.
But, the point is that we need variety in our movements, and we need things that stretch us and cause us to do things we're not accustomed to doing. We need to get back to a variety of movements,
exactly right.
and not just sit in the chair.
That's right. Speaking of variety, we have 310 organic cell-ready ingredients right in the Primal Edge. Pick that up, folks, and we'll be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive.
We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
The gold market has taken off topside in a large way in 2020. If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my gold report. The gold report took profits in 4 of its equities in the gold portfolio in the first week of January for a combined profit of 99.2%, with 2 positions left in the portfolio that have a profit of 67.5% as of January 7th. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
In line with what we were talking about, not moving, sitting too long, and so on. And we found an article here that a chiropractor says he's seeing all kinds of interesting problems from working at home. Mm-hmm. And he talks about the 3 of the biggest problems that they're finding at this point. The first one is too much pressure at the base of the spine, so that people are are sitting just too long. And it's kind of tempting to sit there. You just don't think about it. You're working on the computer, the time goes by, and before you know it, it's a couple of hours.
Especially if you're writing stuff or researching.
And checking emails and working and responding and so on. And it's we're sitting around too much, and it's an issue because it puts pressure on the lumbar spine, which is the 5 vertebrae at the lower spine between the ribs and the pelvis. And this causes your spine, you get up and you get that, jeez.
That's why they recommend you get up or walk around a little bit.
And he says you need to stand up. You need to not to, if necessary. Sometimes I'll set the alarm to go off every 40 minutes just to make sure that I've gotten up.
Should be probably 20 or something.
Right.
The other thing is, too, that... and I just lost my train of thought.
All right, hang on. Okay. The next problem is sore neck and shoulders. You're kind of craning over trying to see especially if you're working from a laptop or something in your lap, put it up on a table and prop it up a little bit so that you're sitting up more
upright. You're not
upright.
looking down. Yeah, it might be that you want the screen
the monitor.
The
monitors today, that you can lift. I find myself, I lift it up a little bit, and so that I can, and then I'll put it down a little bit, just depending on get some relief from the position.
Years ago, I was in the furniture business, and there was this neat Swedish chair that puts your knee forward and your back straight, so you're kind of like almost in a squatting position.
You're kind of kneeling up.
You're kind of kneeling, and those were the kind of chairs that you could sit in for hours, and it wouldn't compromise you because you were using your abs to stabilize yourself.
And the same thing with the ball.
Right, the ball works really good. So find different solutions and get up often for sure.
Yeah, and then the other thing, it says to put your computer a couple inches higher than your eye line, and if you have to, put a couple books under it or do something to prop it up. But also some gentle neck and shoulder stretches. And you want to be careful about that. Look up some good regimens. Well,
I would recommend looking up active isolated stretching, and they have a whole regime for the neck and the shoulders. They have one also for the hands and the feet. And these are the types of activated stretching that I teach my clients. And every part of your body can be stretched.
Active isolated stretching.
Yeah, active isolated stretching. So you're making active means you're using the opposing muscles. In other words, if you're stretching your tricep, you're using your bicep to lift the arm. So it's active. This is the way the body works. So you're not really stressing out. You're not trying to overstretch anything. Your body's listening to yourself by stretching it, holding for it a beat, and then bringing it back and doing it kind of in series. But when you look at problem number 3 here, wrist finger pain from typing, now we know that the same types of stretching can be done for your fingers by pulling, twisting them. And there's a whole regime on there. And these are wonderful for taking that stress, because all these little movements with our hands and just holding the mouse, a lot of times my whole hand goes into a spasm.
Oh.
I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Well, I have arthritis in my fingers, a little bit of arthritis in my fingers. Now, our diet prevents me from having pain because I don't have the same inflammation, but the frozen joint is a bone thing, and it is what it is.
And I have a little bit of that too.
And I'm finding every morning I have to do that. I have to do a series of stretching of my entire hand, of my wrist, of each finger in 2 directions, and then the twisting motion, and that, because with all the time I'm spending, and at the office, you don't sit at the computer for 6 hours.
Yeah, that's true.
You get up, you go get some coffee, you go ask your colleague something.
You're being interrupted.
You go out to lunch, people come in and try to interrupt you.
Sure.
So you're not typing all day long. And I find that now, not only am I typing all day long, but sometimes I'm working at 5:30, 6 o'clock, where ordinarily I would have been home by that time.
Or on the freeway.
Well, that's why I work from home.
Yes, exactly right, for sure. Yeah.
But it's the finger and wrist. I mean, it really is it feels a lot like the carpal tunnel kind of stuff.
And that's kind of what it is, for sure.
Yeah, the repetitive motion.
Yeah. So these stretches are countermeasures. That's what we started with. We need to have countermeasures, and this happens not only with the fingers and everything like that, but think if you're a sports person.
Yeah,
if you're a professional, you know what to do because you've got regimes already. But if you're just active in, say, tennis, or you're active in golf, there's certain movements that compromise you feeling good, and there are countermeasures to those. So seek out a personal trainer that knows about this stuff to counteract those activities.
Yeah, well, you're talking about a repetitive motion of the same type, golfing. You torque your body, your knees, your legs. Yeah. Your back.
Even gardening is repetitive, but not as repetitive. But
and there you'd have a situation where you could be squatting. You can be sitting on a low stool to do that. You can use the knee pads and kneel. Alternate the way you're. And
gardening actually is an activity that would be the countermeasure for eating. In a sense.
But it also burns calories.
Yes, it burns a lot of calories. You're active. I mean, your stomach is making a lot of activity there just by the squatting itself, and
your abs.
Or even bending over. Sure. So this is important to understand that the problems that we have today may be a little bit different because we're not at the office, we're at home, and we're doing more repetitive things. So now you have to come up with those countermeasures yourself or seek a professional to come up with it. Give me a call.
Yeah. There you go.
But so exercise today has completely changed from what our hunter and gatherers ancestors did. We have a lot more activity that's possible to go to. We have so many different, we have exercise places all over the place. Maybe you don't want to go in a crowd now, that makes sense, but we have the outside. And we have a couple of parks right near us that have all these little things where you can hang and you can walk on and do all these little stations.
And moving is a way of coping with stress and so on. And there's a good article here on how do you know what coping strategy is right for you. And it's interesting because they talk about two different ways of coping with stress. One is problem-focused coping, and the other is emotion-focused coping. So problem-focused coping involves actively engaging with the outside world. So this might mean making action plans, seeking further information about the threat, confronting an adversary, depending on what the issue is. And then emotion-focused coping is directed inward, attempting to change how we respond emotionally to stressful events and conditions, rather than trying to change the actual stress. So it's a matter of how you respond to the...
Yeah, and there's effective emotion-focused strategies include meditation, humor, and reappraising difficulties to find benefits.
That's the whole gratitude or see the silver lining.
Right. Okay, that's cool.
And then the less effective emotion-focused strategies are the ones that involve distractions and denials and substance use. And we'll talk about this for a few more minutes.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks. Stick around.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as...
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and to help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step by step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get them, folks.
TFNN has developed a daily programming lineup for traders by traders. We start every trading day live at 8:30 a.m. with Tommy O'Brien hosting the morning market kickoff as he starts the day off by breaking down everything you need to know about what's going on for the trading day ahead. At 9 a.m., Larry Pesavento takes your calls and questions live on the air for the opening bell as he hosts Trade What You See. At 10 a.m., Tom and Tommy O'Brien host the Bull Bear Trading Hour. At 11 a.m., it's Kevin Hanks and Alex Coffey from TD Ameritrade Network with Fast Market. Basil Chapman at noon with the Tiger Technicians Hour. Steve Rhodes hosts the Trader's Edge at 1 p.m. Dave White with the Power Trading Hour at 2 p.m. And Tom O'Brien closes out the day for the final hour of trading live from 3 till 4. Don't miss a second of our daily programming lineup. Tune in to Tiger TV every trading day live at TFNN.com. Educating investors.
We're looking at ways of coping with what's going on in the world these days, and we talked a little bit about problem-focused coping versus emotion-focused coping, and the point is there's no right or wrong way to cope. The article actually starts with, how do you know if you're coping? Well, and they suggest the benchmark is, how is your life now compared to what it was before all this started?
Well, you go home and you say, God, I need a drink.
Yeah, right. Are you drinking more?
Right.
Are you sleeping badly? Mm-hmm. Are you feeling more anxious?
Right.
You know, what exactly is going on? And then once you see that, you need to think about, and you use a combination of the two, I think. Mm-hmm. Change what you can change. Adapt to what you can adapt to. Create a solution for whatever there is that's an actual problem-solving type challenge.
Yeah, like setting a timer to get up and walk around a little bit. Yeah.
Right, or getting a more comfortable chair, or whatever it is. Going to bed at a different time, using melatonin, maybe. I don't know. If
putting
you're having
little music on, whatever it is, to change your mood.
Right, and then
instead of eating too much. Or,
right,
yeah.
and developing new habits. We talked about this in our couple shows back, but the key is cut yourself some slack. everybody's having difficulty dealing with what's going on.
Yeah, don't take it too seriously. I mean, take it seriously, but kind of just, have a good time at the same time.
Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever. If you take an hour off and watch half a movie,
whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, because your mental health is your strength and your ability to cope and your ability to think clearly is what makes the difference in getting through the crisis.
Yeah, and don't feel guilty when you slough off a little bit.
Right.
I think that's important.
Right.
Yeah, and,
it's not, everybody's dealing with it. You're not the only one.
Yeah.
And that's part of what's important here. Take your primal edge. Give yourself the physical boost that you need.
Right.
And exercise, move.
And do your own research. That's what we always say. Listen to us, but do your own research, make up your own mind, and you'll find solutions to the problems.
Yeah, be well, be safe. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye, folks.